Hello and welcome back to another Nordcraft YouTube video, and curiously enough, Andreas has called a meeting with me and all of you lovely viewers to discuss something new and exciting that we have just released, and it's to do with something called GraphQL. What's the deal, Andreas?
Oh, well, GraphQL is a query language for APIs. And it basically means you create your APIs in a way that makes it really easy for whatever front end that needs to fetch data to get exactly the data you need.
First question that I'm sure a lot of the viewers out there have: why use GraphQL if REST already exists?
So REST is really great for building APIs, and it actually lets you do pretty much everything you need. What is cool about GraphQL, though, is that it has a schema. And that means your backend can actually communicate exactly what data is available. And when you combine that with something like Nordcraft's new GraphQL Query Builder, really, really cool and quite magical things happen. And I would love to show you.
I would love to see it too, Andreas. Would you like to give me a demo?
I would love to. So I am going to go and share my screen so you can see what's going on here. And right here, we have a clean Nordcraft project with just a single main inside. And I'm going to go and add a new service. And right now, you can see we have a bunch of new ones. And also some of the old ones have changed a bit. So we've got this GraphQL tag now. And we're going to use Supabase today. So you've always been able to use Nordcraft and Supabase together, but now we directly support GraphQL. I'm going to go and set up my Supabase service, right, by opening up Supabase, and that link takes you to this. Select your project. I'm going to check my demo project. Then I need to copy my URL, my project URL, and I'm going to post that in here. And I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to find my API key and get this anon/public key. And the public key is safe to use in the browser. It says so quite. It's one of the #1 questions they get. So we're going to copy that, and therefore we can use it in Nordcraft. I'm going to put that key in as well. Everything so far is exactly like you would normally connect Nordcraft and Supabase, right? But now when I add an API, I also have my normal REST endpoints for all of Supabase, as we always had. But now I also have this option of using GraphQL.
Ooh.
Oh. And the great thing about GraphQL is that it knows the whole table setup I have in Supabase, in and out. So it can guide me exactly through how to fetch the data I need. So I'm going to add a field. And you can see I have a few here that's available. It's not a big database. I'm going to grab my post collection, and I'm going to say I want to get the first 5 items. Just put 5 in there. And I'm going to order by, created at, and then we're going to say descending and nulls last. And that's basically saying latest posts are going to be at the top. And if there is no value for created at, those will come in last. That's fine. So now we get to pick the data we need.
But what are you building, Andreas? What type of website are you building?
I am building a social network because we don't have enough of those. So I'm going to go and find these posts. And I can now, one of the nice things about GraphQL is that you can pick only the data you need and exactly the data you need. So I want an author for each field. I want the content. I would like to know, created at is good to have. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's all I need here. But see, with the GraphQL API, I get to see exactly what data is available, and I can pick just the stuff I need. And this is so nice because you'd never really have to go and look at API documentation again. Everything's right here. If you want to know more about something, like what I post, well, it actually tells you, and you can go and check the documentation because it comes along with the API. So everything you need to query your data is right here.
See, one of the things I've always experienced with working with GraphQL when I'm working in code is that I've got to always generate my query in a GraphQL Explorer because I can't remember all the nodes and the names and all the fields on all the models and blah, 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 blah. And so there's always something you've got to do twice. Go into the GraphQL Explorer, build the query, copy and paste that into your IDE. And this just takes all of that pain away.
It is so nice. It's one of those technologies that really feels like it was built for visual tooling. Like it's good normally. It is amazing when you have a tool like this for it. So now that we've got our post, we're going to start rendering them in Nordcraft. I'm just going to add an article. Here we're going to add, I think we should have an H2. We'll add a paragraph, and that's a pretty good start. Let's just do a little bit of styling just for good measure. These are going to be like a white card with a shadow on it. We're going to give it, yes. And now that we've gotten the sort of basics in, let's actually give it a bit more styling. We got 2 rem. That was super aggressive. Let's dial that down to 1 point. Actually, maybe we'll just keep it at 1 and make it bulkier. There we are. I am okay with that. Give it some spacing. Good. And border radius. Otherwise, our designers would never forgive me if we don't add border radius. Right. So now I have this single card. Maybe we'll set a width of like 400 for this. So now I have my card, I have my UI, I've got my data. We're going to rename this over here to posts so we can remember what it's called. And now I'm just going to repeat my article here. I'm going to go find the data coming back, my post collection. We have to sort of navigate down through all the selections we did to get here to our list of posts, right? And in Nordcraft, of course, whenever you do repeat, we get to see the same article for every single item in that list. And now I can bind up my data. So item and then the node. And in this case, we'll put the author first. And then here we'll add our item, node, and the content, right? So now we have what I think is a beautiful and very Zen-like social network full of posts. I think maybe we should add some images so we can see who the authors is. We haven't actually uploaded them anywhere, so we're just going to fake it because we're the only 2 posting here anyway. So let's go and say I'll add an image here. Maybe just wrap that. Put it in the same place as the header. That way we can put them on the same line. Right, and this image, let's go and upload an image there. I've got one of Salma here. Very big one of Salma. Maybe we should add that down to like a 540. And then say the width to, let's actually go and make it a whole. We'll use it as an icon. There we are. And what was the next one? We want to add some radius. And then let's add a nice background gradient. What would you like, Selma, for your background gradient?
Pink and purple, please.
And there we go. We'll have some pink. And for the purple, over here we are.
Beautiful.
Oh, that is quite nice. Right. And we'll, of course, only show this if the node author is equal to Selma. And then we can just do the same for me. In this case, we'll only show it if it's equal to Andreas. This is not the recommended way of building social networks. In case anybody is unclear, this is a hack. You will run out of developer time eventually if you try this approach. And we'll just do. Right. I want a different gradient. Let's just fix that. Something more boy-like. There we go.
Endgenderedcolors.com.
There we are. Well, you started it. Right. So, of course, with GraphQL, you can make lovely queries and get data out like this. But doesn't end there. You can also obviously update the data and post content. So let's add a little text area where we can add new items to it, and we'll give that let's give that a border and some radius, right? And we'll bump it up with 400, right? And we'll do 300. There we go. That was a bit aggressive, right? And actually, we should probably make it in a form and add a button to submit the form, right? Of course, in Nordcraft, if we want to do a text area, we need to bind it to a variable. So we'll call that a content. There we go. And we can just bind this here. So now every time I type into my hello world, I am posting. Every time I type into that, that gets reflected in our variable here, right? So let's go and create a new GraphQL API here that we can post to. And of course, by create, I mean in Nordcraft. We already set it up in Supabase, right? So I'm going to pick this again. I'm going to change my operation from query to mutation. Mutation in GraphQL means I'm going to create, delete, or update something, where query just means I'm fetching data, right?
That sounds scary.
It is. That's why we turn the automatic fetching off when you do that, so you don't accidentally create stuff while you're developing. Because generally you want to fetch stuff when an event happens, not automatically, right? Or you want to do mutations at that point. But let's go and find. Now you can see we have a whole new set because mutations are a different set than queries. And I want to insert into posts collection.
Ooh.
And I am going to hardcode some stuff here. Normally, again, you would put this pull this from your form or from your data, but we don't need to do that because we're just doing a demo. So I just put Andreas in here, so the author is always Andreas. For the content, I'm going to create a content variable. So variables in GraphQL are kind of similar to variables in Nordcraft in the sense that they are a placeholder for a value. Like instead of just 45, you can save that value in a variable. In this case, we use them to send along with the query, right? Or with the request. So when I create this content variable in GraphQL, I can now go and bind that something to some data here. So I'm going to go and bind that to my Nordcraft content variable, right? And that means that it'll take that data when it sends it along. And I'm just going to return affected count because I don't actually need to know all these things. I only care really about did it change something, right? Good. That's all I need to do here. Now I'm going back to my form. When I'm going to submit that, I'm going to, first of all, no, we're not going to set content yet. We'll do that after. We're going to call, let's go and give this a better name. New post. Right. Let's go and submit that and call new post. When that succeeds, I'm going to delete my content, set it to an empty string. That way it's going to reset that input field. And then I'm going to refetch all my posts so that I get the latest data whenever I do that, right? Let's go and try. Hello world, I am posting. We hit enter, and there we are.
Ding, ding, ding.
So I go and try, especially if you're using Nordcraft with Supabase, go and try the GraphQL setup now. It is so much easier because, again, you don't need to remember all the different details of every single API. It's all there right in the interface. And of course, GraphQL is not just for Supabase. We have a whole range of services that we support out of that. Here. And there are many, many more that speaks GraphQL, and Nordcraft will work with all of them, of course.
And don't forget, if you need help with any aspect of Nordcraft, especially some of our new features, including the GraphQL Explorer, come and join the Discord and we'll be happy to help out. The link is in the description.
See you there.